What is up, Niner gang? I hope everybody's having a great night tonight. I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted. This thing's messing me up right now. But yeah, like I said, I hope everybody's having a great night tonight. Sorry I haven't been on in a while. Um, was just going through some stuff with Halloween and everything and taking my kids trick or treating and stuff like that. I've been wanting to come on. I was hoping um, that I would be able to from Sunday till now, but now's the time that I get the chance to go on. I figure I'll go on today, and as long as everything goes through, I should be having the show with Jesse Naylor from Last Second Sports as well on Thursdays. So I figure do a show today, maybe skip Wednesday, and do every other day for this week. So probably Tuesday, Thursday, maybe Saturday, depending on how Friday goes. And yeah, guys, so back here on a Tuesday night. Like I said, man, I hope everybody's feeling good coming off that win on Sunday. That was a great one for us. Honestly, definitely needed the get right game before the bye week. I had told you guys before, I felt it was a must win game. And real quick, guys, before we go too far into the video, especially if you're catching the stream later on when it's not live, please, first and foremost, please like the video. Please, very much need that. Just so I can get out there more, get more subscribers and stuff like that. And if you're not subscribed already, please do so. I would really, really greatly appreciate if you guys could subscribe and put the notification bell on to where it sends you all notifications. All you got to do is click that bell and with the two quotation marks around it, so it's all notifications. I would greatly appreciate that. We should be having a couple special guests tonight. I have the call-in link in the comments for you guys. So click that link if you want to call in and give your thoughts. But I'm gonna, for the most part, just go off rip. I've been super busy these. Like I said, it's been rough. I haven't been able to get all my notes together like I usually do. I just got off work a little while ago. So I'm just gonna go from the heart as far as the game against the Rams. It was great, man. I was very curious to see how the offense was going to operate without a Debo Samuel, and some people, myself included, were a little worried how the 49ers, the offensive struggles that they've been having during the course of the season so far, and especially having to come back and do it without Debo was worrisome because he's a guy, especially against the Rams, where he gives you typically that one or two big explosive plays against the Rams where he kind of just shuts them up. So we weren't going to have that. Was curious to see how, especially, acquiring Christian McCaffrey was going to go for the 49ers. And like I said, man, I thought that McCaffrey was going to be great for this offense because he's a veteran that adds consistency. And one thing that the 49ers offense lacks is consistency, right? So especially being the check down guy, now you see other wide receivers running off the coverage. And so the Rams have to cover that deep. They spread out the field. And especially with Jimmy Garoppolo taking those deep shots now, it's really stretching the field. And then if nothing's open, you just check down to McCaffrey, and it's almost like a gimme screenplay. Pretty consistently. So it's pretty badass, man. I love it. And I love seeing Garoppolo still taking those deep shots. I jumped in some other chats talking about how I actually thought the throw to Ray McCloud in the end zone was a pretty nice throw. Now, I feel on both ends it could have been better, a better play on both sides from Garoppolo. A little throw. I feel like he doesn't want to overthrow like he did to Emmanuel Sanders in the Super Bowl. I think he still had more arm to get it done. It wasn't like a super he wasn't throwing so much effort into it to where the ball was wobbling and just he was exerting himself. I feel like he could have put a little bit more, but he doesn't want to overthrow like he did in the Super Bowl. He has a little bit of a mental block still, I think, but he underthrew Ray McCloud just a little bit. And then Ray McCloud, that's the point as where when you're a wide receiver, you stick your foot in the ground and you high point the ball. You don't just run under the ball and wait for it to come to you. You stick your damn foot in the ground as a wide receiver. If you want to get paid millions, this is how you get it. You stick your damn foot in the ground, come to a complete stop if you have to, and jump up in the air. Use that momentum to launch you into the air as a wide receiver. So on both sides of that pass play, they could both improve, but I like to see it, man. It still looked pretty good. If Ray McLeod wasn't double covered on that play, which he wasn't double covered the whole way, but the safety came up and came into the area to help defend the play. But yeah, I still like it, man. I still like seeing. You saw it open up stuff for like Ross Dwelly, and we're going to continue to see that, man. I love to see it. We got my boy David McNew in the comments says, what's up, buddy? I'm watching the NFC West Network Roundtable. I will switch devices and be with you shortly. Hey, man, I appreciate it. Thank you, man. And I hope you're having a great night. Hopefully we'll get to talk in a bit. But yeah, big news today. Of course, I probably should have gotten into that first. I think I'll talk about John McVay first because if you guys don't know, John McVay was a general manager for the 49ers that helped Bill Walsh. They worked as a team to build that dynasty with Joe Montana and all those guys at that time. He joined the 49ers in 1979 and became the general manager. John McVay, grandfather of Sean McVay, head coach for the Rams. And he spent about 22 seasons with the 49ers. And he passed away today. The 49ers announced it today. At the age of 91, John McVay passed away. And they've honored him in a couple ways. He went into the Hall of Fame, the 49ers Hall of Fame in 2013. They even named the draft room after John McVay. So it's the John McVay draft room. That's pretty badass, man. And, maybe one day when I get a green screen behind me, I'll green screen myself into that John McVay draft room. But yeah, man, condolences to the family and, respects to somebody who helped build the dynasty of the 49ers, who made the 49ers the 49ers for the most part, man. And, hope he has a great journey and has had a great journey on this earth, but in the next life as well, that he has a great journey. That happened today, guys. That's some news today. And as well, I'm sure everybody has heard that Jeff Wilson Jr. was traded today to the Miami Dolphins. And there's a whole bunch of moves. Today's the trade deadline for the 49ers, for the NFL. And the 49ers, I thought the 49ers would make a move in being buyers as well, at least. We had talks before today to where people were saying that other teams were expressing interest in trading for Jeff Wilson Jr. and acquiring him from the 49ers. So we saw it come to fruition today. And I thought, that would come with maybe trading a player for player, maybe a late round draft pick or two. And so, I was a little shocked that it was a 5th rounder. I thought it was kind of a slap in the face. I would have liked to see a 4th rounder or at least a 5th and a 7th. I thought Jeff Wilson Jr., like, if you rank him, and I want to go before these last couple weeks because ever since McCaffrey's gotten here, he hasn't been able to touch the ball as much. But at this point, I guess he's ranked around number 14. So mid-tier, around high mid-tier of the NFL. And so a guy like that who's ranking around above average for the NFL, you would expect. Now, I understand it's running back. So that's why, you get the later draft picks. Running backs aren't as valuable around the league. But at the same time, you see a running back like Christian McCaffrey gets a 2nd, a 3rd, a 4th, and a 5th in draft capital for the acquisition of him, right? So I thought for Jeff Wilson Jr., we should have gotten a 4th round draft pick, at least a 5th and a 7th or a 5th and a 6th, something like that. Or even, like a 5th this coming year and a 7th next year or something like that. I thought it was a slap in the face. I understand at the same time. And I don't want to get too much into it, but I feel like, he's been a crucial piece with all the injuries. We always go through running backs, and he tends to be the healthy guy. In 2020, when the 49ers were just injury riddled all over the damn field, he was the leading rusher. He was that one guy that was healthy. Him and Ayuk were basically the offense for the 49ers in 2020. So, I'm pretty shocked to see him go in just as a 5th round draft pick. It's ridiculous to me for the acquisition in exchange for a 5th round draft pick is a slap in the face to me for how valuable he is. I know that running backs, they're taken very lightly they're taken for granted, right? They're not very valuable around the league. They're not seen as that. But this guy, the best ability is availability. And this guy tends to be available. And at this point, any other running back, Kyle Shanahan probably would have ran him into the ground. But Jeff Wilson Jr. has been there. He's been a reliable piece for us. Elijah Mitchell always gets hurt with the way Kyle Shanahan tends to run his backs instead of rotating them and having success like they did in 2019. Hey, mix Breida in there. You put Mostert, Breida, Coleman, and rotate them in and out, in and out, in and out, as well as Jeff Wilson Jr. We rotated all 4 of those backs that year, and I might be missing another one. So pretty shocked to see to where 2019 you have all this success rotating running backs, and then all of a sudden you just want to completely change the way you do things, and you're seeing the consequences of the way you're doing things now is all your running backs get hurt because you run them till they go into the ground and they're on injured reserve, right? That's what happened to Elijah Mitchell. Missed training camp, comes back, instantly starts, gets run into the ground by halftime, and goes on IR. It's week 9. We're going into the bye week. We're not going to see him till after the bye week. So we're not going to get him back to like week 8 week 10, around week 10, right? And then I'm curious to see what the 49ers choose to do from that standpoint, right? Do you go with Elijah Mitchell and run him into the ground? Do you run McCaffrey into the ground? It's like I don't understand the logic. Rotate them. I did like to see that even though, like McCaffrey in this last game against the Rams, the 49ers went very heavy on McCaffrey. He got 27 touches, right? So I would have liked to see less, especially towards the end, man. What the hell are you doing? Kyle Shanahan, 4th quarter, you're up by a super big margin in the 4th quarter. I understand you don't want to have a game like against the Lions, but you don't need a McCaffrey out there to be the guy for you to continue to keep that lead. Any of your backs could do it at that point. You could put JP Mason in there and he would be able to keep you afloat. So you want to see Kyle Shanahan be smarter about those things in putting starters away at the end of games when you have such a lead. So you want to see that, but the overall rotation, I liked that I saw Jeff Wilson mixed in there with McCaffrey, but I didn't think he was mixed in there enough. So Kyle Shanahan, fix what you got to fix, man. It's pretty simple, pretty plain and clear. And I understand, like, you want to come out hot. You want to get a lead fast. And that's another thing, too. Actually, I was pretty surprised that, because I think a big narrative coming into this game, especially on my show, was the 49ers, Kyle Shanahan, when they scheme up their script coming into the week before the game, and they come into the game the first quarter, first offensive drive in the game, typically they score first drive, right? Maybe the second, and offense kind of just fizzles out from there. So I'm like, okay, Kyle Shanahan, we need to fix that, man. You need to at least come up with the first drive and a third quarter first drive, coming out of halftime, and just do more to score, man. more scripting if you got to do more scripting, but Kyle Shanahan has just fizzled out consistently with the offense on his from the play calling standpoint. So that was one of my big talking points, was like, dude, you got to figure this out. And it was pretty ironic that he comes out in this game and he does the complete opposite. First drive was trash. Comes out, 3 and out. Rams get the ball back. Then the 49ers start getting it going, little by little. They start having success outside of that. And I don't remember coming out of the third quarter what happened exactly on the first drive. But outside of the first scripted drive, the 49ers had success. So Kyle Shanahan, if that's what you got to do, if you have to focus more on the overall game plan than your just first drive, then do that. I would love to come out every first drive and score, but if the overall game plan and adjustments that can be made, foreseeing what the Rams or any team is going to do as the game plays out, then do that instead. Because if that needs to be the focus, then focus on that. Because you had success in this game doing that. Screw your first drive script if that's not what's going to maintain success for you throughout the game. If that's such a huge focus that it's going to take away from the rest of the game, that's basically what I'm boiling it down to. That's what I'm trying to get at. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. But yeah, man, rotate the running backs. We're not going to have Jeff Wilson in there anymore. He's going to be with the Miami Dolphins. I hope he's successful. We do got to play the Miami Dolphins in a few weeks. So I really hope the Dolphins don't have a revenge game. We're going to see Mostert, Jeff Wilson. As long as those two guys are healthy, I don't know how Mostert's doing right now. The Dolphins traded their running back Chase Edmonds to the Broncos, I think it was. No, the Bears. They traded him to the Bears, so that's why they needed a guy like Jeff Wilson. It seemed like they were plotting that whole trade, that three-way trade type thing. Swap for a swap for a swap. So yeah, we're going to see Jeff Wilson back here in a few weeks against the 49ers. And I really hope that's not a revenge game, man, because that's been a pretty recurring thing this season, is a lot of these players like Dante Pettis coming back and beating the 49ers and having success. But yeah, man, I hope he's successful over there, because this was his last year in his contract. This is a contract year for him. And that's part of the reason, you hear like John Lynch, he talked about it, how that was part of the reason they made the trade, was because Jeff Wilson wants to get paid, right? The 49ers aren't going to have very much cap space. So he can get the ball rolling somewhere else. If 49ers acquire something, he was an undrafted free agent when the 49ers acquired him. They brought him in after the draft. And so the 49ers get a 5th rounder. And I understand that people see it like that, like, oh, he was undrafted, so we got something for him, so it's a win. I don't see it that way. I see it for the player he has become and what we are acquiring. I don't care if he was undrafted. So if you're saying George Kittle was an undrafted free agent, so if we get a 5th rounder for him, it's worth it? Hell no. George Kittle is who he is, right? So I want the capital. I want to acquire the capital of what he's worth, not for what he was drafted or not drafted at. I don't give a shit about that. I want the capital for what he is worth, goddammit. Jeff Wilson, I think we should have gotten a 4th, but hey, I'm not going to talk about it all damn day. That's how I feel about it. I hate to see him go. And I do see my boy Brian is in here. He promised he'd call in today, so I'm going to hold him to his word. And I can't wait for him to come on. But he says, Wolf, I will be in a minute. Appreciate you, bro. Glad to have you here. And anybody else who's here, I would love to see what you guys want to throw in the comments about how you guys feel about just everything overall. I talked about John McVay passing away and the 49ers talking about, his legacy and, just the overall situation with his passing. So let me know what you guys think about the Jeff Wilson trade, post 49ers Rams. and the passing of John McVay. Did I say that? Yeah, I said that. John McVay, Jeff Wilson, and the 49ers, and the state of the 49ers. Right? I know your guys' thoughts on all of that. But yeah, man, I'm very curious to see how this is going to pan out with the running backs. Christian McCaffrey, if you're going to put all this in onto him and run him into the ground, that might be grounds for expulsion, man. So we're gonna have to see. Elijah Mitchell is gonna be coming straight off of injury, so you definitely want to see him rotated, right? So just use that as an excuse to rotate both of them. Maybe even give. I don't know how Elijah Mitchell is looking right now as of right now at this moment in time. He might be working out already. I don't know. I would love to know, but I don't. Um, But TDP's gotten in there. He's looked decent. But even like him, when you get to TDP, that guy only is averaging 2.3 yards a play, I think it was. So when you got every other running back averaging around 5 to 6 yards per carry, and you got a guy like TDP who's only averaging 2.3, but to be fair, he's only gotten a couple chances this whole season, and JP Mason has probably only got about 1 or 2 chances the whole season. So they got to get their chances as well, right? Get their feet wet. But I got my boy Brian in here. I hope he's ready. You ready, Brian? Yeah. All right. Throw you in right. What's up, bro? How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. Doing good.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
excited. We got something out of the trade. It's always better to get something when you got to let a player go to get something than nothing. So
Yeah, I was very surprised to see that the 49ers were sellers and not buyers today at all, right? Now I understand
yeah,
this is something everybody's got to understand too. Just because today was a trade deadline and the 49ers didn't acquire anybody through trade, we can still grab somebody through free agency. So we still got to keep a lookout for that, guys. Stay on your phones. But, that could be in the next few coming weeks. And the 49ers did bring in some wide receivers for workouts and stuff like that. So they're still looking around trying to make moves. It's not over, just as far as trades it is. But yeah, man, did you hear what I was talking about on the trade of Jeff Wilson?
I came a little bit late. I had a really important phone call that I was wrapping up, and I jumped on, and I needed a minute before I could jump in. So if you want to give
Okay.
me a brief summary.
All right. Yeah. What's your time frame, by the way? Do you have a time frame today?
Oh no, I'm clear now.
Okay, cool. So I did think I know you like the fifth rounder for it, and a lot of people were like, you get a fifth rounder, and he was an undrafted free agent. And I'm like, okay, I understand what you're saying, but I completely disagree with that logic. Like if you give me a guy like George Kittle and he was drafted in the fifth round, and people are like, okay, we got a fourth rounder for him, so it's cool because we got him in the fifth round, or we got a fifth rounder for him because he was drafted in the fifth round. It's like, no, he's George Kittle, dude. He's who the fuck he is. So I want to see some good draft capital for him for the acquisition. But, I'm not going to hound the 49ers too much because, they are going to avoid the cap space. I would have liked to see a fourth rounder for Jeff Wilson because one thing is the best ability is availability. And, him and Ayuk were the two guys that were available in 2020 when everybody else was injured. The 49ers were completely depleted. He was the 49ers leading rusher. He was the only guy available. Um, he's just always been super dependable for us. So for to let somebody go like that and to have Mike McDaniels have a guy like that who's a threat in a few weeks when we're going to see them, that's how I see it. Is a fifth rounder for me is a little bit of than slap in the face. I would have liked a fifth rounder and a seventh, even if the seventh was in 2024. But I understand everything else. I'm not going to hound it too much. It's like squeezing the last few drops out of a lemon. So I understand, but sucks to see him go.
Well, like what you touched on right there. A first round pick costs more than a second, or a third, or a fourth when you go to pay him. So
Mm-hmm.
by us trading for a fifth round pick instead of a fourth round pick, we're ideally saving a little bit of money right there, and we do better. Like you said, George Kittle being a fifth round pick does better than him being a fourth round pick. And I'm just going to bark back a little bit. The idea of getting somebody who's an undrafted free agent and them turning out to be a player compared to somebody who was a player, say like a fifth round pick, and you
A
go and trade them
baller.
for a fourth round pick. Well, that's just okay. You didn't really expect them to be that, so you got really lucky there. So just
Yeah.
looking at the position number, or the draft number, you're like, okay, yeah, we're getting more because we're going to trade for a fourth round pick, but you can't, and that's why I really don't take too much stock into any draft grades because you don't know if that first round pick is going to be a bust or that second or third or fourth or Mr.
Yeah.
Irrelevant is going to be look at Tom Brady.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, look how far he went before. So, like, you can't really say like this player is going to be, no. There's like hype, and I do believe there's like football DNA. Your parents were in the, your dad was in the league, and he's like, since you were like 2 years old, teaching you how to snap a football, or doing stretches with you, and he's groomed you to play football, just like other sports. They do that with parents do that with baseball and basketball. So there's a good chance that if your kid grows up, he could become a boxer, or my kid grows up,
Yeah.
maybe she could become a field goal kicker. It could happen, because that's where we're playing with our kids. We're teaching them, but I don't have that football gene. I don't have
Can I
that.
can I touch on that too? Because I've always been a big believer in that, and I feel like so many people just breed with whoever, whoever the hell they come across, and I'm like, dude, you got to take a good look and know your worth, and take a good look at who you're giving, like having babies with, and I'm like, I want to pick a good specimen too, because I feel I feel like my parents played a huge factor in who I became as an athlete and everything, because both my parents, now after after high school and stuff, they dropped off, like they went in a different direction, but when they were in school and doing good, um both of them, I found out, like I didn't meet my father till later on in life, and it turned out he had like a letter from the president for outstanding athleticism and stuff like that, right? And then my mom has she still has records in middle school, at the middle school from where we're from, in her cross country stuff and her track stuff. So when I found that stuff out, and I turned out to be a great athlete myself, and so that was just natural for me, so I do believe in that, man. And
Hey,
I
listen to this real quick.
what's
So
up?
my dad, he has five brothers, and all of them are 6 foot. My
Mhm.
dad's not 6 foot. My mom, she's like 5'1", 5'2". I turned
uh
out to be 5'7". But all my uncles, even my mom's brother, my mom has one brother, he's 6 foot something. My grandfather's 6 foot something. But I'm 5'7", so I'm happy being that. But my dad, he's like 5'6", 5'7". My mom,
uh
she's 5'2". So it does. Breeding with people matters. It really does.
yeah.
Sometimes you don't want to be with somebody super huge. Sometimes you want to be, because that is who you are. So yeah, you got to go where
Well,
you got to
you
go.
exactly, you turned out right in the middle, right?
Yeah.
Between 5'2" and 6 foot. But your dad, okay, how tall is your dad?
About 5'6", 5'7". I'm a
Oh
little
shit.
taller than him, so I'm like
Yeah,
five
you
seven and a
got
half.
some of his genes, but not his exact. Yeah, okay.
But
Okay.
my mom's got a 6 foot brother, and my dad's got six
Oh
foot
yeah.
brothers. So
Yeah.
it's like I just got the two shortest people in the family, and that's just what happened.
Oh no, the runts of the litter.
Well, maybe the best picks. I don't know, but
Yeah, yeah.
hey, but no, it's really cool. But hey, to touch on what Aaron's saying, they got him. Miami's got him. So like, now what? Miami's like little San Francisco.
Yeah.
We got Mostert over there. We got the
Straight
coach
up,
over
man.
there, and now Jeff Wilson.
Some
Now
Frisco on Frisco ball.
let me ask you:
Mm.
Does Kyle hold grudges?
Oh, I definitely think so. Um, Real quick,
So okay, go.
49ers first takes. Can you let me know how your brother feels about it? But other than that, yeah, man, I definitely think he holds grudges. Just his whole persona, and of course this is just speculation, so it's not for sure, but I definitely think so.
Okay, so would you say like if you do certain things on the team, there's a very likelihood that you're going to get put in the doghouse, or you might not be on the team much longer? Um, Example: if you fumble the ball, do you believe like Matt Breida is not on our team anymore because he fumbled the ball?
Yeah, definitely.
So,
But I mean,
do you think that's a possibility with what happened with Jeff Wilson Jr., or you think we just got rid
I
of him
don't.
because we got McCaffrey?
I don't. I think it's just the 49ers trying to recoup what some of what they lost from the McCaffrey trade and the 49ers running back room being so stacked. Now, I think the rookies have been held back. You know, they got a couple touches this season, but I think he's been holding on to them till we start rolling into the postseason and kind of unleashing, giving a different look with them later on. So I hope that's the case, but we don't know for sure, right?
Yeah, because everybody's saying we have to make room for a running back or a roster position, but Tevin Coleman went to the practice squad, so we got rid of him to bring in McCaffrey. And if Elijah
Yeah.
Mitchell's coming back, then do we really have to get rid of a running back? Or I mean, I don't know. TDP and Mason, they're there, and I know if we put them on the practice squad, someone would swoop on them. But why are we
Yeah.
not playing them?
That's the thing too, right? So the 49ers, they don't want to risk that for sure. But and then I wonder, poor guy Tevin Coleman, he's getting the runaround. I'm wondering, like, oh, Kyle Shanahan calling him into the office, like, hey man, I'm pretty confident you're gonna make it through the waiver wires. So I'm sorry, I gotta let you go, but I'm gonna try and get you right back. Yeah, I
Yeah,
just hope
bro.
you
Like
understand this.
I'm promising you a ring. You just stay focused with me, man. You know, when we get another guy that goes down, you just be there. You know, I'm
Yeah,
not even gonna send you home. You can. We're gonna get you a hotel room right here in Santa Clara. So we're gonna pay for it. You know,
yeah.
because I'm telling you, no one's gonna pick you up. Not that you're not good or anything, but you know my offense. And watch Tevin Coleman get re-signed, just like Dante Johnson. They'll
For
both get
real.
Super Bowl rings.
Just over and over again, like Tim McGraw said. Oh, but I want to know what you think, man, because Elijah Mitchell is going to come back soon. And I'm wondering, are they going to do what they did in the offseason where he didn't have an offseason really? Comes back from injury. They immediately throw him in a game before he's even had a chance to do anything else and get his feet wet. He gets injured before halftime, out for the rest of the season until what? We're going to be in week 10. Then we're supposed to get him back. So he hasn't seen the field since week 1 in the first half. I'm wondering if they're going to throw him in right away. I know McCaffrey's going to get the start, but even Jeff Wilson was sprinkled in there a little bit. But if they don't run, they might run one of these two guys into the ground. And like I said earlier, McCaffrey, if he gets ran into the ground, that might be grounds for expulsion right there.
Yeah, we definitely can't run McCaffrey into the ground. And if he does sustain an injury, it's got to be something like what's happened in Carolina, where it's not something like an ACL or an MCL or something crazy, broken
Mm,
shoulder, something devastating to his career. Um, and for them to bring Mitchell back in, if they do just start him right away, that's not going to be too cool, I don't think, because I think at this point we could start rotating backs like we were doing in 2019. And if McCaffrey is that dump off guy, then they probably won't have Juice in there for a while. I know he's got an injury, so maybe they'll have Juice and they'll have McCaffrey and they'll have Elijah in there at the same time.
yeah.
But McCaffrey's going to be more of that, outside back. I think he's going to be more like Mostert. Mitchell, though, the type of offense that we run with him, that's like he gets the ball, just runs down the middle. So if our line isn't able to block for him right now, that might not be good either for him.
Yeah, I would like to see even like 21 personnel, two running backs in the backfield with TDP and not both of them at the same time, but if let's say you're going to have McCaffrey or Elijah Mitchell, right?
Yeah,
I would like to see Tevin Coleman or TDP in the other slot. So let's say you have McCaffrey and Coleman on the field at the same time in the formation. Coleman can play fullback or whatever else the scheme draws up for, but just mix it up with those other bigger guys to possibly play fullback or even just run out for, I don't know, just whatever else.
I
What?
think they've been letting Dwelly play fullback since Juice has been
Yeah,
out.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. But just mix in a little bit more speed with it. So I'm
Yeah,
saying mix in a guy like Coleman who's a little bit bigger, or TDP who's a little bit bigger as well and faster. Not bigger than Dwally, but they're faster. And then just to give a little bit different look and different pace to the game, but
yeah,
you're not risking Elijah Mitchell and McCaffrey at the same time. So I would like
yeah.
to see something like that. Um, yeah, I'm really hoping we're gonna get to see the rookies, man. But I forgot what I was gonna say because there was something you said, um, and I know like definitely one thing I wanted to talk about was like McCaffrey got 27 touches right in this
Yeah.
last game against the Rams, and I think the only touches that Jeff Wilson got were probably just so that Miami could get a look at him, right? Because he was just sprinkled in there. McCaffrey
Hmm.
was getting a shitload of work that game. And so that could be an indicator that Kyle Shanahan's ready to run him into the ground, man. And I don't understand all that success you had in 2019 with rotating running backs. You had at least 4 running backs in rotation. You were super successful. They were all healthy at the end of the season for the most part.
Yeah, I definitely see what you're saying. He could definitely overuse him because I think he kind of overused Debo last year, and because Debo threw a touchdown pass too last year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, um, you know, and wasn't it against the Rams?
Yeah, week 18. Yeah, week 18. And then like even Emmanuel Sanders threw a touchdown pass too. But
Yeah. So
he
we get these star players and we overuse them, and then we don't use our other players. I do like what we have seen with McCaffrey this last week, and even the first week. He got used a couple times. He was very successful on some plays. Running up the middle is not what we need to do with McCaffrey.
no.
No, he could do it, but we don't need to do that to the guy. But
Not often. Not often. Because
no,
he has success with it. He can squeeze through those super tight holes. I would
hmm
like to see it every once in a while, but he's a running back. So I would like to see it every once in a while just to
yeah.
mix things up, keep the defense honest, but not often. Because I
But
agree with you.
did you notice? I think it was his first game he was playing. He ran between the tackle and the guard, and he shot out for a really big, game.
Yeah, it was
But
like
it
11
was
yards.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he did it by like jumping through the tackle,
That-
and I thought that was awesome. But like running it right there between the center, it's not. I don't think that works out for him. But I
yeah.
do like what everybody's talking about, and what it has shown is him being on the field has opened up other people. Now
Yeah.
the pass last game where they threw it, and I believe he was in the end zone, and I believe Kittle was in the end zone at the same time. I don't know whose ball that was,
Right.
but
That was almost like a perfect pass for both of them too. Like either one, whoever was ready to make the play could have made that play. So yeah, exactly. But I
so it
think
has
part
been
of it
yeah.
what was that.
Oh, go. I was going to say it has
Um,
been brought
so
up. I was going
so
to
I
say it
think
has.
part
Go ahead, man.
I think part of it is like okay, so the offense has been super stale, right? At least coming into this game against the Rams. So it's been super stale. I think that's why Kyle Shanahan is using McCaffrey so much, is he wants to continue to have the hot start, continue to have the lead, and just build up a lot of points and keep his foot on the gas pedal. So I do like that part of it, but it's like if it's going to come at the expense of risking McCaffrey to so much, then I don't like to see it. But I think that might be what he's doing.
Yeah, I hope he like calms down a little bit with them because Debo was hurt this last game, and I believe Jennings was out. Mitchell was out, so hopefully they can get like a rotation at running back here really soon. I really, really do like how they can open up the offense a little bit. Christian McCaffrey, triple crown. He threw, he ran, and he passed. He passed, caught, and ran. It's just wow. I think he was worth every pick. I really do.
Yeah,
I,
it was in his second week here, man. So yeah, it was the Rams. Can't wait to see against some of these other teams, and I hope it stays consistently like that. Especially when you get Mitchell back, you get Debo back, and some of these other guys. We're supposed to get a shitload of guys after the bye week, man. So pumped up to see that and how the 49ers are looking. But how do you feel about the overall state of the 49ers, bro?
I like being back at 500.
Right.
I think we should have beat the Broncos, but with Russell Wilson being there, that's hard to beat them. The Bears game was a fluke because of the weather, so I can accept those two losses. I can't. Um,
Yeah.
I'm not happy with the Chiefs game. We got blown out. The Falcons game, I think we got punched in the mouth. So those hurt really bad. Then the Carolina game, we got back on track. Seattle, that's an up in the air game because we don't know if Trey would have kept playing, how well he would have done, or if Jimmy would have started the game, we don't know how he would have done. And with Seattle just being Seattle, going to their game next, um, it's going to be in Seattle. That one could be for the division.
Yeah. Maybe, man. We're gonna have to see how the Cardinals start doing with DeAndre Hopkins too. Now that they have him back, they've been laying a stinker all season. Then they got DeAndre Hopkins back, and they traded for what was their wide receiver they traded for? Um,
I know there was
Robert.
a lot. Yeah,
Uh, what's his name from the Panthers, right?
Allen Robinson,
No, not Allen Robinson. Robbie Anderson.
Robbie Anderson.
Yeah, I think it was Robbie Anderson. So they get DeAndre Hopkins back, and they got I think it was Robbie Anderson,
I think you're right.
because Robinson's on the Rams. But yeah, so we'll see how they start doing, man, because they're typically the ones that fizzle out towards the end of the season. They might flip the script this season and start to get hot. I hope not. But the Seahawks are doing good. They knocked the Giants off their hot streak. And the Giants were looking like a really good team. So very surprised by that win. I should have put some money on the Seahawks. Um, but damn it. But yeah, man, I hope we can go the rest of the season with, we're 4-4 right now. Hopefully we can make it to at least 10-7. And this is, man, for momentum, it's great that the 49ers get a win, especially in the fashion that they did
Well,
before the bye week, man. What's
how do
up?
you feel? Well, going 10-7. How do you feel about like the Chargers? You think we got a good chance against the Chargers? That's a
Definitely.
okay.
It's going to be in our hometown, so that's it's a home game for us. So I like that. The Chargers are another team that's like, okay, they're good, they're stacked, but they just
Yeah,
can't get it together
yeah.
sometimes. And so the 49ers can definitely take advantage of that at home. And the 49ers are going to, they did it with all their fill-in pieces this week against the Rams. So hopefully they can get back with their starters and take care of business in the right way, man. Because if
Okay.
not, hey, you guys might need to go back on the bench and get a little more healthy. But
Then we got the card. Maybe not in this order. We have the Cardinals. I think with the Cardinals, we could end up splitting. I'd like to sweep the division, but I think the Cardinals and the Seahawks we could end up splitting.
I think we're gonna whoop the Cardinals, bro. If I'm being honest, this year, it hasn't been that way in past years, but yeah, I
Yeah,
think this is a great time to take advantage of the Cardinals and really catch them off guard.
we
You
always
know,
said overlook the Cardinals, like completely overlook the Cardinals. Remember when Kaepernick threw those picks in the beginning of the game?
I don't, I
Yeah, go
don't.
back
What were the?
when we played against the Cardinals. Kaepernick just kept throwing picks. It was like the same guy too. I think he threw like 3 interceptions in that game.
I'm
But
telling you, man, Kaepernick wasn't consistent enough. I didn't like him as like a constant quarterback, man. I liked Alex Smith because he added the consistency. And maybe that's what a lot of people like about Jimmy Garoppolo. Maybe we're not always going to get to the Super Bowl, but we're going to have, like every game's 50-50 with him. It seems like
you know,
that's,
I really think it's got a lot to do with like his looks, and
oh, hell
him
no.
coming from the
It better
Patriots.
not.
I
Yeah.
really do because I really do because like when you got somebody like Jeff Garcia, and I'm not saying he's ugly, but you got somebody like Jeff Garcia, he has no hair. You got somebody
Yeah.
like Tom Brady, he's got hair. So you want to have like a good face of the franchise, and I think the national media really does push this Jimmy thing. I like Jimmy, but not that much to say. Yeah, like that, and
Mm,
with him coming from New England, and then the clout. Oh, Tom Brady developed him, and this and that, or Belichick, he wanted him. So there's a lot of like mysteriousness, and like mystic, people. Oh, he's magical, and so I don't know. I mean, like I think he's a good quarterback. I think we could win the Super Bowl potentially with him, but things just have to fall into place. And is it going to be him doing it by himself? No, it's going to have to be him with a really, really, really good team.
hey, you know what? Speaking of the good looks, man. So I remember when we first got Jimmy Garoppolo, right? Or no, actually, it was in 2019 when he came back in 2019, and I was watching a game in the 559 Niner Empire as like a watch party. So out there in the valley by like Visalia and Bakersfield, and that's like the area where my dad's side of the family lives now. And so my dad had influence on my siblings, that the kids that he had, and so they're all like Raider fans, and it's
Hmm.
ridiculous. It's fucking embarrassing. And so I'm always telling my sisters, I'm like, bro, it's much sweeter over here, man. Grass is greener over here. Come on. And one of my sisters, that's the Raider fan, she was watching the game with us because my dad's sister is a Niners fan, big time Niners fan, and all her kids are Niners fans. So that's weird to begin with. So my sister was watching the game with us in the 49ers watch party, and she saw Garoppolo for the first time, and she's like, "Who's that?" I'm like, I'm telling you, get off them ugly ass Raiders. Come over here, man. We got El Guapo over here. my homie that's a Seahawks fan. We'll go watch the game at the bar, and he's like, "Look at El Guapo, man." He always calls Jimmy Garoppolo El Guapo. But we got John Jay in here. We're gonna bring him up right now. Hopefully he's ready. Can't see his face or anything. John Jay,
What's up?
how you doing,
Hey,
bro?
John.
Just
Sorry to
another
have you
day.
waiting.
No worries.
Okay, how you doing, man?
Nothing much. I was on another show about over an hour ago called RSF Niners, and we talked there for about an hour. We lost track of time. It was great over there. So
I
now I'm
love it when it
here.
goes like that.
Now I'm here.
Hell yeah, bro. Glad to have you. And yeah, guys, we haven't gotten to talk since the Rams game. You know what? Real quick, what are your thoughts on the Jeff Wilson trade?
So I kind of knew that Jeff Wilson was the odd man out. Once you
Yeah,
got McCaffrey, uh, someone was gonna go, and so you go by process of elimination. McCaffrey's not going nowhere anytime soon. Elijah Mitchell's coming back. He's the bell cow. He's the guy who can run 20 times, so he's not going nowhere.
yeah,
We just drafted Ty Davis Price, so he's not going nowhere. And then
yeah.
Jordan Mason. So then you start looking at Jordan Mason. Are we gonna put him on a practice squad? Are we gonna cut him because another team's gonna pick him up?
And then Tevin Coleman's the Dante Johnson of the offense now.
So now you look at Jeff Wilson. Jeff Wilson has value. Uh, he's in Miami, but I think Miami kind of played us because Jeff Wilson should have got
For a
at
fifth.
least a fourth rounder because we don't have a fourth round.
That's what I said,
So
bro.
that's the thing that really is frustrating me. Of course, he's not going to get a first round pick. He's not a first round talent, but Miami was like, hey, we're not desperate. You guys have too many running backs. So, what's the least you guys will go? It's just like any type of negotiation,
Yeah.
any type of thing. You want to get what you want, but you have to compromise. So I think the Niners had to compromise. I think they got screwed at the end of the day. Jeff Wilson is going to go over there. He knows the coach. He knows Mostert.
The scheme.
And what they're building in Miami, besides that, like let's look at Miami for a quick second. They also got Bradley Chubb. I was a little bit shocked that they also got Bradley Chubb.
Yeah.
So there was something that came out today that I saw on Twitter that the Trey Lance trade, the Niners are losing because Trey Lance has not played. The 3 first round picks that they got Jalen Waddle, who I think is going to be probably the best receiver in that draft class. They got Tyreek Hill. Now they got Bradley Chubb. So Miami really got us good. And now Trey Lance has more expectations to succeed because then it's going to be really awful. But back to the Jeff Wilson, we should have got, a fourth round, or we should have got a couple of fifth rounds or something. But we got robbed, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree, man. I said if it was going to be a fifth, at least a fifth and a seventh. At least. That's ridiculous. Even if the seventh was in 2024. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to let Brian speak on it a little bit.
I am very curious to. I like what you said, John, and for what he's worth, I think we got robbed. But I am very curious to know: did the Niners reach out to Miami and say, "What will you give us for him?" Because we were going to end up losing him, and like you said, we have too many backs, and he probably went to the team and said, "I don't want to be here anymore, so let me go or try to trade me." And with them saying, okay, well, we can trade you, and we at least got a fifth for you. But I don't think Miami came knocking on the door for him. You already have Mostert.
I think they did. Reason being because Chase Edmonds. I think they were already scheming up that trade with the Bears. I think it was the Bears, right? It was the Bears or the Broncos. That they traded. Okay, yeah, they traded Chase Edmonds to the Broncos. So I think they're like, okay, we're scheming this up with the Broncos, so we're going to need another running back. And, last week we were already talking about how people were saying that the other NFL teams were expressing interest in Jeff Wilson Jr. We didn't know whether to believe it or not, but that means the Dolphins were probably reaching out to the 49ers like, hey, we're going to trade this guy away. We need Jeff Wilson Jr. most likely, especially with Raheem Mostert's injury history. That's the way I see it. But yeah, guys, how do you guys feel about the defense right now, man? From what we saw, against the Falcons, building up to what happened against the Chiefs, and then what happened against the Rams, and getting some of these pieces back. Whoever wants to go first, rock, paper, scissors.
All right, so I'm never worried about playing the Rams. Of course, after losing to Kansas City, it's a wake-up call. I'm starting to really, really believe that phrase, any given Sunday you can lose, any given Sunday you can win. But we own the Rams, so you had that mentality. And the Niners in the first half, it didn't look good in the first half. But then in the second half, besides the offense, Kyle, I don't know if this is the first time, but I was informed that this is the first time this year Kyle has ever adjusted. First time this season. Yeah. So, but it was also told to me that Kyle does adjust, but he always does it at the worst time during the season. So,
too late.
But when it comes to the defense, like D'Amico probably got very embarrassed the last couple of weeks with his defense. I am done blaming the injuries because number one, we still have a lot of great talent on that defense. And I'm not going to put the injury, excuse anymore. It's next man now mentality. I've been put in my head by so many other content creators. Oh, injuries. No, enough with the injuries. We get it. It's going to happen with the 49ers. It's probably going to happen next year and the year after. We have to figure that out. But I think D'Amico probably got demoralized. That defense got demoralized against the Chiefs. And then D'Amico said, you know what? Let's adjust. And every team, even when they're winning, when they're losing, it doesn't matter. You adjust. And the best teams know how to adjust. Cooper Kupp did not have a reception until the end of the game, and he got hurt when he caught that reception. So that reception should not have happened. So we kept Cooper Kupp in check. Matthew Stafford was sacked 3 times in the second half. I think he got hit 6 times. So basically all of the sacks and the hits came in the second half. The pressure was brought, and the defense did a really good job. Fred Warner did what I wanted him to do. He's a good, important factor on the run game, the pass game, and even the pass blocking when it comes to all of that stuff. So I think when it came to the adjustments, this is the NFL. Like we get always stuck on our team, but even the worst teams adjust at after the half. They always adjust.
Yeah.
It's just Kyle, and again, like hopefully he continues to learn it and continue to evolve. Because if he continues doing the same thing, he's not going to have a job anytime soon. But you have to adjust, and the defense did a really good job in adjusting. And we made Matthew Stafford and the Rams offense look horrible. And it was good for us because we put 3 touchdowns on them. So we were able to finally score touchdowns in the second half.
Yeah.
So I'm glad. And hopefully D'Amico will continue to learn. And I think if D'Amico keeps doing this for the rest of the year, I don't want to say this, but, we may get more compensation picks for him because he may be taking the job somewhere else. So if he continues to do this, we have to accept the fact that we might have a new defensive coordinator. So that's my thoughts on that.
If he does it against somebody other than the Rams.
Yes, that's true.
I just want to say something real quick, and then I'm going to let Brian go. So I was talking about this before you guys came on about the adjustments. I was like, this was very ironic because the whole narrative before this Rams game was Kyle Shanahan, outside of his first drive script, doesn't do shit. He never adjusts, but he just doesn't have a game plan for the rest of the game. Great first script. We typically score touchdowns on our first drive, except the one time against the Chiefs where it was just a field goal. And so I was a little worried, against the Chiefs when that happened. I was like, oh, man. But it's like he flipped the script this time. And I'm like, dude, if this is what you got to do to win games, if you got to focus on the overall game plan instead of the first drive script, then let's do that, man. Because I would rather you put all the focus into the offensive game plan for the whole game instead of just one segment. That's all I got to say on that. That's all I got to say about that. I drank 27 Dr. Peppers.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so ask the question again because I was listening. I listened to what John had to say, but I want to, answer it to what your question is.
Just how do you feel about the defense now? Like coming from what happened against the Falcons. So Emmanuel Mosley gets hurt, right? We take a dump against the Falcons, take a dump against the Chiefs. And I've been confident that the 49ers can build back and D'Amico Ryans can kind of start working with the pieces he has, get more comfortable with how he feels he should call the defense moving forward. Now we get a bye week, so that's a good thing. But how do you feel with the defense now going forward?
I think they definitely made some adjustments, but I think we have to, why did they first make the adjustments or have to make them? We had some injuries that went down, and I know we don't want to use that necessarily as the answer, or that's why they had to make adjustments, but they pulled players out that were going to be predominantly in the game for a long time. And on offense and on defense. So when you don't convert on offense and defense has to come back out, and maybe these guys are getting tired where they're not even used to playing this long. So I'm just thinking maybe after that happening and everybody getting embarrassed, because I believe they do go into halftime and make adjustments. They might not make the best decisions, but sometimes you have to work with what you have too. So when you're like, oh man, at one point, we were looking at Juice being our backup quarterback, so, I mean, like,
Oh, man.
Juice is, if everybody gets hurt, Juice is, the emergency quarterback. So you have to deal with what you have. But yeah, I think the defense definitely made adjustments, but we have to do it against somebody other than just the Rams because it seems like the teams that we over expect to beat we expect to beat the Rams, but everybody thought we were going to beat the Bears and the Broncos, and everybody thought we were going to beat the Falcons. And these teams have given us a hard go at it. The Chiefs, everybody was pretty confident we were going to lose that game. But again, our offense didn't go down and convert. We ended up having to settle for field goals, and then when we did go, we got another field goal. We got pushed back because of the penalty, so we didn't convert there. You can't win games when you kick field goals and the other team's scoring touchdowns. But yeah, I definitely think if we continue to use the players that we have right now and continue to give them an opportunity, then both sides of the field are going to look better. And yeah, if D'Amico keeps playing the way or coaching the way he's coaching, we're not going to have him next year. He'll be a head coach somewhere.
Yeah, hopefully both sides of the ball, well, all three aspects of the game, special teams as well, can complement each other, man. Because we've been saying that, right? For the defense to have success, the offense has to score points. Because you could shut a team down it could be 3-0, and the other team's winning 3-0. But if you don't score any points, then the defense could have a great game and you still lose. So, this was a very good example of the 49ers coming back offensively and taking some pressure off the defense
Yeah.
and complementing each other in the second half. It was great, man. So, love to see that. Best defense is a good offense and vice versa. And then, I'm glad we're going to have some of the pieces coming back and see what Verrett's got left in the tank. That's going to be great to see. Very curious because we still don't know if Armstead's going to be back with that plantar fasciitis. But, I'm pretty optimistic, man. It was looking rough, man. With Emmanuel Mosley going down, still a little worried. Lenore, he's giving up the underneath stuff, which, it might bite us in the butt at some point, but he's making sure to not get beat over the top. But yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing as far as the Rams game. Hopefully we can build some more stuff like that against the Chargers, because Justin Herbert, I think this is going to be a good time to get a good look against another team, against a good quarterback who can throw beautiful passes and fit them in very tight spaces. So curious to see how that plays out. And I think I still have to see more. I have to see more. I'm not completely confident yet.
Yeah.
And like, you know what? Actually, like you were saying, man, I'm sorry, but D'Amico Ryans, yeah, he has to put it together against more teams than just the Rams, because the Chiefs and the Falcons, that was not it, man. That was not what was happening, man.
Well, to kind of jump back into like what we were saying before John jumped in, we were saying potentially, John, I think it just might be me and you for a minute.
Yep.
So what me and Wolf was saying was we were talking about the upcoming schedule and what teams we might be, nervous against, or what, I'm not really nervous against any of our teams coming up. I'm not. How do you feel about the Chargers?
So when I was on that RSF Niner, which is a good content, and I'm going to start subscribe and follow it. They have an Instagram, so I will probably be able to get them on my show in the future. But someone, because we had 4 people on, and our conversation lasted 40 minutes. Everybody else had like 5-6 minutes, but we were on 40 minutes, as a panel. And one of the panel says that there's a lot of players that are injured, and of course Joey Bosa is not going to be playing. CJ Jackson, he's gone. And their linebacking core, what's his name? They got from the Bears. He brought up basically, he's not playing well this year, and he was also been injured. So their defense won't be 100% against us. We're gonna have 2 weeks off. I don't know if that's going to be bad for us or good for us. But if the 49ers play the way we did against the Rams in all aspects, which is basically offense, defense, special teams, if every aspect does what they're supposed to do, when the returners catch the ball, give us good field position. When the offense is on the field, go down the field. If we can't get a touchdown, the kicker has to put points in the field goal. The defense got to do their job, minimizing as minimal points as possible, because it's hard to put a goose egg for the opponent. So as long as we do every aspect correctly, the 49ers should beat the Chargers.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, my screen's frozen, but I can still hear you. Yeah, I think we'll beat the Chargers. When it comes down to the Seahawks and the Cardinals, I think we might split with both of them. I think we can take care of the Saints. I think we can take care of Tampa Bay. I'm not really worried about the Raiders. And I think that's about it. I might be overlooking one person, but I think that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think we can. I think we can actually get on a nice little run. But here or there, maybe splitting with the Cardinals and splitting with the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Going to Seattle is going to be hard. It really is.
Yeah. And the thing that's always hindered the 49ers will always be Jimmy Garoppolo as long as he's on the team. As long as he's on the team. If he can play the way he's been playing, minimizing the mistakes, putting the ball at the right player, just moving the ball down the field. And we've seen it. Like, we've seen stretches of games where he's been consistent and is able to push the ball down the field. It's just that Jalen Ramsey, and I was asking David, Jalen Ramsey dropped 2 possible interceptions. Jimmy should have had 2 interceptions in that game, but Jalen Ramsey is washed up. But those are the moments that really piss off me and a lot of the 49er fans who criticize Jimmy Garoppolo. There's a term in football. You never force a pass, ever. Because if you do that, 99% of the time it's going to be batted away, incomplete, or intercepted. And Jimmy always forces those throws. It's awful that he does that. And that's the thing that pisses me off. Now, the other stuff that other 49er fans say, no, the aspect of Jimmy's game is okay, but him forcing the throws has always been a problem for him. So as long as he does what he did against the Rams every game, we should win every game. But that's the thing that's going to keep us back, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's some times where you see and you're like, why is he trying to throw that pass? But he's got that confidence. He thinks he's got that swag still back in 2017 where he can just fit the ball anywhere. And yeah, maybe you could do that then. But I think in 2018 when he got hurt, I think he lost that. He still thinks he has it because he still wants to act like he's a gunslinger, and I don't appreciate the interceptions. I think after he throws an interception, he plays better, but I don't think I'm not happy when he does that. And yeah, you're right. I think he had like 2 passes that almost was intercepted. And I think the whole game he had 4 incomplete passes. So
yeah, 4.
I mean, but still, you don't want those 2 to be picks,
Mm-hmm.
And if you remember the fumble too, I mean, if it wasn't for Ray down there, that could have been devastating for our team. We're going down to score and we turn it right over for the defense. That's not. The defense needs us to score.
The funny thing about Ray, he fell down, and then McCaffrey lost the ball, and the ball landed on Ray. It's just like he was at the right place at the right time. So
yeah.
Who would have thought falling down on a play would have been benefited the 49ers?
Yeah.
I'm going to just sit here, he said. Let's give a warm welcome to our boy David, man. How you doing tonight, bro?
What's up, David?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Doing good, man. Great to have you guys here. And
I'm gonna jump out real quick and come back in because I think I'm frozen.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I got you, bro. Sounds good.
All right,
get a coat.
Sorry. Oh man, that's a good one. That reminds me of this guy. His lady told him, "I've got cold feet about it." He said, "Put on socks." But yeah. So I heard what you guys were talking about with the Jimmy Garoppolo thing. I think part of the benefit of having his quick release is the defensive backs don't get as much time to react. So it helps him out in that aspect as well. Like Jalen Ramsey, the quick release right in his face. So I think that helped him not catch the pass. But yeah, I understand completely what you guys are saying. But we're starting to see old Jimmy back, I think, man. You look at that pass to Kittle. Or let's even start out with the pass to McCaffrey in the touchdown, right? That was beautiful. He extended the play, moved around the pocket beautifully, man. Got out and threw a beautiful pass. Same thing with the play to George Kittle for a touchdown was he comes off the bootleg to his left to top it off, sets his feet, passes a beautiful pass like 2017, man. That was the stuff we used to see, and he's getting back to it. He's starting to throw deep again. So Hey, man, play with more freedom. Get rid of that mental block. Maybe he's going to sports therapy or something. Or maybe he did during the offseason when he was going through his recuperation stage, his rehabilitation. But yeah, we'll let David get some stuff off his chest, man. Thank you for being here, bro. Good to see you, man. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
So we beat the Rams. You know, we're still the mash unit of the NFL, but we're going to be better when we get back from the bye week. I mean,
so.
I'm hearing after the bye week we'll have Armstead back. We'll have, Debo Samuel, Juwan Jennings. We're pretty much we're going to be as close to healthy as we can be, minus Kinlaw, but we just can't count on the guy.
Yeah.
So and that's kind of sad. I mean, he's a young man, and he has immense talent, and to be held back by knee, it's sad. I honestly hope I don't see us picking up his 5th-year option. I don't know if he'll even make it in the NFL past his rookie contract because of his physical issues.
Yeah, it's hard when your body doesn't want to comply. And I'm hearing talks already about he might be ruled out for the season.
Oh man. Well, yeah. I mean,
wow.
we're playing without him right now, so nothing's going to change there.
Yeah.
And that brings up another subject. A few content creators, and I was just reading Jay and the Bay's comment. Well, to me, I commented on one of his videos.
Oh.
And
I was looking for it on mine.
He asked me if I would sign, Nadaki Sue. And it's like, no. I mean, our brass does not sign players that have issues.
Yes.
Like Alden Smith gone, Reuben Foster, that linebacker that had issues, first round pick. The second he started having issues, he got cut.
Yeah.
So I don't see them signing Nadaki Sue, but I mean, he is 35.
Yeah.
I would say maybe he's grown up out of it. I don't know, but I don't see us doing that.
Well, he's been a really good, consistent veteran, man. And when he was on the Buccaneers, I didn't hear any issues with them. So, as maturity develops, maybe he's just grown out of some of the things he had, like stepping on people's arms at the end of a play.
He did that. He actually did that way more than you anticipated. The only one they talked about was Aaron Rodgers, but he did it to Jay Cutler. He did it to the quarterback of the Vikings at the time. Then I don't know.
He did it to some offensive linemen.
Yeah, he did that. And then I remember, I think after the Lions, I think he went to the Buccaneers and he did the same thing, getting in trouble. He's always been this way. Like, he's a great athlete. Unfortunately, he's high temperament and always has the problems. And as I mentioned, I was on a round table before I hopped on in here, and the host of the show and another person made it very clear. 35 is not, what 35 used to be in the NFL 20 years ago. He can play. The problem is he's also very vocal. He argues with coaches. I did not even know that he argues with coaches. Mm-hmm. So if he comes over here and, his coach is Kasurik, I heard Kasurik is a guy who doesn't care if you're a veteran, an MVP, defensive player of the year type. He's still going to yell at you, and he does not like. He doesn't like that.
If he gets in an argument with Kasurik, the other guys are going to whoop his ass.
Yeah, because Kasurik, I heard he's a little bit nuts. Because a phrase what was taught to me today was that he doesn't care who you are. You are like a wet bucket of socks. I don't know what that means, but that's what he calls the defensive players when they're not playing. A wet. I don't know if that's a derogatory thing, but
it's like what's his name, Zach Galifianakis in Due Date, when he's acting out a scene in the restroom. He says, "What are you, a girl or something?" Did you guys see that?
Zach Galifianakis. That name is familiar.
The guy from Hangover.
Oh yeah,
talking about the Wolf Pack. He's the silly guy. He's acting out a scene being a head football coach in a locker room at halftime. And he's like, "You guys are acting like a bunch of girls. What are you, a girl or something?" That's Chris Eric.
Oh man.
Oh no. You got anything to say on it though, Dave? Because I mean, I didn't hear anything coming out of Tampa Bay. It seemed like he had corrected a lot of those problems and kind of matured a little bit, but it could be like a Aaron Hernandez situation where he just can't get it out of his system. What do you think?
Well, as you grow up, you calm down. That's just how it is. Me being 45, I should know, Yeah. But there was a point in time I was 25 and I was watching a Niners game and I was yelling at the TV, Now it's like I'm watching the Niners game and no matter what happens, it's like, okay.
That's crazy. I cannot imagine that. That's funny.
I don't. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm just a fan watching the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not a player in the game. I'm not a coach. There's absolutely nothing I can do about it.
True.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to having a meeting with him and seeing how the meeting goes. 49ers can always cut him, but just consistency at that tackle spot, man, because both our starters are out. No Kinlaw.
And
no
Sue will
Armstead.
Sue will eat offensive linemen up.
Yeah.
And will free up the other guys.
Yeah, at 35, I'm not hoping. I mean, I'm not setting my sights completely on a monster takeover, but just a really good veteran that can add consistency and stay healthy.
Hey, a lot of people forget that we signed that defensive tackle Mitchell back in 2019, right? Hold on, let me center myself a little better. Okay. So back in 2019, I mean, the 9 defensive linemen we started the season with, we ended up with, I believe we had 4 on the roster for the playoff run. The rest were lost to injury. I mean, I struggle to think about who the 4th guy is. But we had Nick Bosa. We had the 4th guy. I can tell you all 4: Nick Bosa, Armstead, DeForest Buckner, and D Ford.
Yeah.
The rest of the defensive linemen were all guys we had signed or somehow acquired throughout the rest of the season because of injuries. I mean, we lost Ronald Blair. We lost Julian Taylor. I don't know if you remember that defensive tackle. We lost him.
Yeah.
I mean, it just kept going and going. We'd sign a guy and he'd get hurt. It was like it was ridiculous. I was going, man, this just never stops. And but we ended up signing a defensive tackle because DJ Jones was actually hurt for the playoff run at that point. This is bringing back bad memories here.
Yeah.
But and so we signed Mitchell, a guy that was on the roster the year before, to come off the couch and come play just because we needed bodies.
Yep.
And we made a run to the Super Bowl with essentially our 3 starting linemen, because Armstead was coming off the bench at that point. He wasn't starting at the nose tackle or the edge spot at that point. But Armstead was coming off the bench. So we were essentially on a Super Bowl run with 3 out of our 4 starting defensive linemen and a bunch of off the couch guys.
Yes. Speaking of that, David, I don't know if you remember, but we had this guy we acquired from the Jacksonville Jaguars, Sheldon Day.
Yes, I remember.
And he, I wouldn't say, he was like, really, really great. But then if we were going to, trade, Buckner, they should have kept him because he didn't get a lot of playing time. But I think he had I don't know. I think he had 3.5 sacks with the minimum playing time that season. And after that, we let him go. I think he went back to Jacksonville And then the last time he played was with the Browns in 2020. He's only 28 years old, and he would have been like a cheap option to keep. Unfortunately, I've been saying this always. Like we're always going to have edge rushers. We don't need edge rushers. And even the year we drafted Nick Bosa, we only had 2 defensive tackle. That's why Eric Armstead was converted from a defensive end to a defensive tackle. That's why in 2020 they thought if they can put him back in defensive end in 2020, he actually played better in defensive tackle. But it really shows you that the Niners have let a lot of players who were young, and Sheldon Day was like, I think 25 in 2019, so he was still young. So again, he's only 28. So it really shows you that the Niners have always, for whatever the reason, value more defensive end on the defense out of any position.
Yeah.
So it's weird why they do what they do, but I like Sheldon Day. I think if we would have had him, in 2020, I think, they could have had Kerry Hyder, Armstead and Day in the middle, and I don't know who the other defensive end was, but I think, that would have been a little bit more helpful for the 49ers. I still think we probably would have been 8-8 because there were like 2 games that we should have won. The Seahawks game in week 17, and we should have won against the Washington Commanders. We should have beaten those 2 teams.
Yeah, definitely. No, I understand that too, and I think it's a lot to do with the mobile quarterbacks we got to face now. But we're talking about Ndamukong Suh and the defensive tackle situation, Brian. If I don't know if you heard that, but real quick, I'm going to let Brian touch up on the Ndamukong Suh, what he thinks of whether we should sign him or not, and just the overall defensive tackle situation. But everybody who's watching the stream right now, please throw a like and a subscription. Hit the bell notification for all notifications, please. I would greatly appreciate it, and it would help me to extend my reach out to other 49er fans, please. So go ahead, Brian, and everybody, thank you.
Yeah, real quick. I did it earlier, but shout out to Aaron again. He's always in everyone's chat. He puts up good content. He's a great guy. But as far as the Ndamukong Suh thing, he is not a great guy. But I guess when you play football, you don't have to be a great guy, right? But I didn't like him stepping on the players. He did it to Stafford, and he did it to Aaron Rodgers. Stepped on their fingers, stepped on their back.
Yeah.
That's stuff that happens in regular football games that doesn't necessarily get videotaped. But because this is a National Football League, and there's more and more cameras, so he comes from more of a old school mentality.
Brute mentality.
Yeah. And, maybe sometimes you need that on your football team. So the only way I would entertain him coming is if he came cheap, and then I can't complain if he's cheap, and if we win the Super Bowl because he came to our team, I definitely won't complain. But no, he's not really a Niner mentality, but I
completely understand that. And that's kind of what these other guys were saying too. Real quick, 49ers first takes. I guess your name's Aaron. I appreciate you, man, what you said here. And I'm going to tap into your stuff too, man. So keep a lookout for me. And I really appreciate it again. Thank you. But we were talking about, Brian, with Ndamukong Suh, man. I didn't really hear anything coming out when he was with the Buccaneers. So I'm wondering if he matured a little bit and kind of lost some of that stuff. Or maybe I just wasn't hearing it. I don't know. Because I still see some of the old stuff that he did pop up sometimes. And, I hope he's matured and maybe the 49ers can bring him in for a meeting and discuss a little bit, just kind of get a feel for where he's at on a personal level and add somebody that can stay in the lineup consistently, man, and a seasoned veteran who can be really good. What's up?
Are you ready for it? Here's your answer. He was on Detroit. So, losing and stuff like that, you get mad and that tempers flare and you start doing little dirty things to try to get yourself a little bit of an edge. And when you're winning fixes everything. And you're on the Super Bowl team with Aaron Rodgers. you have a chance to win a ring. You might not be so dirty of a player. You might start playing a little bit more cleaner because you don't want
Yeah,
to be the reason you lose a game. And
yeah,
when you have somebody like Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, you don't want to be that guy that loses the game. So yeah,
yeah.
that 15-yard penalty because you sacked the quarterback and stepped over him, but stepped on him to step over him. You might not
Well,
be doing that.
especially when you have something brewing and you lose Calvin Johnson too to top it off. So I understand that completely, man. You guys got anything else to say about that? I think I'm gonna probably cut the show off in about 10, 15 minutes if that's cool with everybody.
Yeah.
But all right, cool. You guys have anything to touch on that though?
Well, real quickly, me and John kind of kept it going when me and you were getting froze out.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, if David, what teams on the roster coming up are you interested or worried about the Niners playing? Me and John kind of both agreed that we might split with the Seahawks and the Cardinals, and then pretty much everybody else after that. I think we're pretty much confident. Maybe the Bucks, I think, and maybe the Saints. But I think for everybody else, I think we're. I'm not going to say it's a shoe in. We still have to go and play. But what do you think, David? Anybody on the team that schedule coming up that you're interested in?
Well,
We play the
I kind of think the Cardinals just because they're pesky.
yeah.
You know, they're like they're,
Mhm.
they're like that zit on your backside that you sit down and it's just painful. You know,
Yeah.
hopefully we're able to handle it. You know, and the pain ain't so bad.
That's a good
But
analogy.
I mean the sea chickens.
The
You know,
chicken.
they're getting hot.
Yeah.
But I mean,
And we
how
got
we
to go
handled
play.
them last time, I honestly think we can handle them in Seattle. It might be a one-score game,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know, but I do truly think we can handle them there.
Mhm.
I don't see anyone I'm afraid of.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
Because
mean, if
Tom
we played
Brady,
like
he's
we
not
played
playing the
against,
same way.
yeah, if we played like we played against the Rams, there's not a team in the NFL I'm afraid of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with David, man. The Cardinals have to show us first. They've been getting their ass whooped left and right. They got DeAndre Hopkins back, and they made that trade for I think it was Robbie Anderson. I think it was,
Mhm.
but it was definitely another wide receiver. So we'll see how that plays out. But as of right now, they have to prove it to us, just like the Niners still have to prove it to us too. We're 4-4.
Mhm.
Every single game as of right now is 50-50. We could go either way with the
Mhm.
49ers.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
as of right now, I could see us splitting with the Cardinals, but I think we're gonna win out against the Cardinals and the Seahawks. The
Yeah.
Seahawks again, we whooped their ass so badly. Yeah, we're gonna be missing Mosley this time, but outside of that, we added McCaffrey.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that 24-9 can repeat and be actually like a 40 to 10 or something like that this time.
Yep. I know. I feel bad for my boy TRL because he's probably the most level-headed, very relaxed Cardinals fan. And
Mm.
I was watching. Well, actually, I was hanging out on his stream when he was calling the 49ers and Rams game, and he's like, "I'm done with the Cardinals. I'm just gonna watch Phoenix Suns basketball because he's from Arizona." And I
Uh-huh.
kind of felt bad for him. Like I know, awesome kid. He's annoying. AZ sports fan. He's oh man. Yeah. I don't know what kind of fan he is because he every week he changes his mind. But yeah, I feel bad for TRL. But one thing
Oh,
that
man.
TRL always reminds me, and awesome kid, is like Colt McCoy. Colt McCoy. So,
Yeah,
but I feel the way the Cardinals have been playing, and they've been playing awful. I'm not sure what's wrong with them.
it's
And
that
like I
short quarterback,
said,
that little guy.
oh man,
I'm sorry, Brian. I didn't mean it.
No, no.
He's
Hey, no,
short for the NFL.
hey, no, like Russell Wilson, he's like 5'8", 5'9".
Uh-huh.
He gives me he gives people like me hope that there's a chance,
Yeah.
And then CG had a player on the other day, Dexter, and he only weighed 170 pounds. I weigh like 170 pounds, so that gives me hope. Like hey.
Yeah.
So no, I don't take no offense. I love. Hey, my
Yeah.
size is my size. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just short for the NFL. That's not just
Yeah.
short.
Like
That's just for the NFL.
like
And like
like
Russell
Kyler
Wilson
Murray.
could make it work, but I feel like Kyler Murray's just like way more dickheaded than Russell Wilson. That's why Russell Wilson could make it work, and I don't think Kyler Murray is as dedicated as Russell Wilson. So maybe that's
I
why.
think. Yeah, I think there's a couple issues with just that right there. Like he didn't want to be a Cardinal anymore, and then he wants to go play baseball, and then the coach. It's like the team halfway believes in the coach, but like halfway through the year,
Call of Duty. He wants to go play Call of Duty too.
That joke. Everyone keeps telling me that joke that once that so there's a video game I'm not a video game guy, but Call of Duty Modern Warfare. And apparently once that game comes out, Kyler Murray is going to just tank the rest of the season because he's only going to be focused on playing that video game.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
He's trying to be a professional video game player, and this is legit. This is not a joke. He wants to be a professional video game player and a professional football player. You're spreading it. You're spreading yourself thin at that point, man. You want to be a jack of all trades, or you want to be a master of none, a jack of all trades but a master of none. Is that what you want? Or do you want to be a Russell Wilson, a master of football?
Yeah. So like speaking of short quarterbacks, Drew Brees is the exact measurements for anyone who cares is 6 foot and 3/4. So he was registered at 6'1".
I thought he was
Russell
5'11".
Wilson. Yeah, Russell Wilson is 5'11" and 7/8. So they register him at 6 foot, but he's basically less than 6 foot. Kyler Murray, when he was in Oklahoma, they registered him as 5'8" and a half. So basically almost 5'9". When he went to the combine, he was not a top 10 pick. He was barely like 11, between 7 and 11. And they measure him exactly. He measured 5'9" and 7/8. So he's technically the NFL because of how he's 5'10", but he's technically much taller than he was in college. So what happened? He became number 1 pick in the draft board because just a few millimeters much taller than he was. Because the Cardinals were going to draft Nick Bosa, and we were going to draft the guy that was in Jacksonville, Josh Allen, the pass rusher. And then everything changed. Just imagine if he was not there, we would not have Nick Bosa. So thank you very much, Kyler Murray, for measuring yourself. We got Nick Bosa. That's what actually happened. And then he's like, I'm not throwing no more. I'm taller than people say. Bye-bye. He left the combine after he measured himself. And somehow, even though he didn't throw, didn't do nothing in the combine, he went to the Cardinals number 1 overall because of that. What a weird turn of events. I was working, and I remember, all right, everybody was like taking pictures. They wanted to see how tall he really was. And once he measured and they got the exact measurement, every mock draft in that second, Kyler Murray going to the Cardinals, Nick Bosa going to the Niners.
Hell yeah, man. And the rest is history.
Yep.
49ers First Takes, a.k.a. Aaron, or vice versa, says, I'm 6'3", and I'm technically short for the NFL. Depends. Definitely depends on the position you want to play, man. I'm 5'11", and I played wide receiver, but it just depends on not just the position, but the style. So hell no, 6'3" is pretty damn tall. That's crazy. 6'4" to 6'5" is the prototype. Damian Lee says, give me a quarterback that can see over the line. Russell has only 1 ring. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. That's exactly how I feel. I think that plays a part in it, but just The stuff Kyler Murray does, man, like just run like 40 yards backwards, back and forth with your back to the defense makes no sense to me. And I love it. As an opposing team, I love it, man. But
I don't
go ahead, Brian.
Well, to Damian Lee, I love you, man. See you all the time. But I was a third string quarterback, and the reason, maybe it was my height, okay, because I was probably like 5'2" or 5'3" in high school.
Jeez.
But I'm a short guy, and I'm okay with that. But my rebuttal to the coach is he's looking at me and saying, "Well, you're short, Bryant." I said, "Well, I can see through the holes, like the gaps and stuff between people. I can move, I'll just move around. When I see a big guy right there, I'll just go to the next window." And he started laughing, but that was my mentality. If somebody like Doug Flutie can do it, or other people can do it, I just got to do it too. That just means I got to think a little bit faster and get it done. But yeah, being a little bit taller, yeah, it helps. There's the advantages, and then there's this disadvantages too. So,
I see. Like, I actually want to agree with Brian. I played baseball, was my primary sport, and my teammates when we were in high school, like we had 2 players who were 6 foot. The majority of the athletes, we were between 5'7" and 5'10", and I was basically 5'4", 5'5", and after I graduated, I got probably another inch and a half. I'm actually short, and everyone mocks me about that. But when you're playing baseball, the strike zone really shrinks. So I was always the leadoff hitter in my high school, and because I was an aggressive hitter, I would always make sure to be on the plate. For those who don't know baseball, but when you're on the plate, the pitcher is gonna if he's a right-handed pitcher, the ball is gonna curve outside to the left hand side of the batter's box. So basically, the ball will always curve in because I was cheating. Now, when I had to face a lefty pitcher, I had to play outside the box because the ball was coming in. So lefties would always strike me out because they would never throw the ball. They would throw the ball over the plate. So because I was a little bit away, but one thing that I was always good at was getting on base. And in baseball, if you're a bit shorter, it's really good because then pitchers have to. So pitchers from other teams had to study me. They say, "Hey, yo." So their coach would actually go to my practices and say, "All right, this guy right here, the leadoff batter," they would have to tell their pitchers, the leadoff batter is about 2-3 inches shorter than everybody. So I was like a weapon, and other coaches hated me for that. So like after I finished high school, I tried out for the community college team. That didn't work out, but I did do a lot of adult travel ball, and we did get paid. It wasn't like minor league baseball, but around 24, 25, I stopped playing sports, and I was done. I knew I was going to be in the major leagues, but in baseball, being tall in baseball is a liability because the strike zone is big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damian Lee says short quarterbacks have to run a lot and scramble, but my prototype is Peyton Manning height and mental skill set. He calls his own plays and wasn't fast. He's talking about his running speed, but he could read defense. Mm-hmm. And I like that, man. Peyton Manning, yeah, that would be a good quarterback to have. If you ask me, I think Josh Allen is the new standard for a prototype.
I agree. Like
you got size, mental capacity. He can make every throw. The running ability, he's big, so he's not a delicate little flower. So he's just like the quintessential guy. And we might have that in Trey Lance. Hopefully he builds into his man body and leaves the boy body behind a little bit. But yeah, that's how I feel about it.
I know, like most quarterbacks that enter the league are 23 years old. Like it's no longer what it used to be like. Because now, because I follow NCAA. Now, what top quarterbacks do, and football players in general, they actually some high schools, I never knew this, that you can actually skip half the year, so then you're eligible for a 5th year, but you're not going to school. Mostly that happens in Texas. It's a weird because someone told me that some quarterbacks, when they're 19, they're still playing in high school, but some of them then go to the JUCO route, which means is the junior college, JUCO.
Yeah.
And they do that for 1 year, then they redshirt. So their first year, they're already 20 years old, and you need to be in the league for 3 years. That NCAA weird rule. So Trey Lance was 19 years old when he was at North Dakota State. At the age of 20, which should have been, that year. So he was 21. So basically, he was drafted a week later. He finally turned 21. So he's very young. Very young.
Very young. Yeah.
He's a kid. So let's go back to Josh Allen. Josh Allen is the prototypical NFL quarterback. Let's look at Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers played the same way as Josh Allen. Now, Aaron Rodgers is not mobile, but he was able to run. And most of his runs were basically from the play action. He would play action, didn't see nobody, then he would go to his right side and scramble over there to get 6-7 yards. And that's what you want from a quarterback. You don't want, what's his name? Lamar Jackson. You don't want him to run through the tackles and then curve outside, because when he runs down the middle and then he turns to the outside. Same thing that Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray drops back in the play action, but he runs, then he goes outside in the open space. So, that's the thing. A lot of people think, oh, mobile quarterbacks are these type of quarterbacks. No, watch how they play. Lamar never runs down the middle. Once he goes through open space, he goes outside. He runs outside. He always does that. I've never seen him run straight in the middle. Probably a few years ago when he played against Miami, he ran straight down the middle. But he rarely runs down the middle. So,
David,
you there, bro?
Oh, I'm here. I'm just eating Halloween candy. I took most of my leftover. Oh, well, I bought a bunch, and I had a bunch of kids stop by, and I gave a crap load out, but I had a bunch left over. So I took most of it to work. The office ladies are cussing my name now, but that's their problem. Don't eat it if you don't want to.
Yeah.
I forgot Halloween, and then I turn a light on, and when lights are on, the kids ring your doorbell. I was like, oh, crap, it's Halloween. I don't get my Halloween candy. I'm sorry.
Start handing out top ramens.
Party pooper.
I don't do that.
Hey, well, I'm gonna close the show out in a sec. David, you got anything left to touch on with the 49ers? I'm coming back on Thursday. Should be here with Jesse Naylor. I don't think I'm doing a show tomorrow.
Well, you have Jesse Naylor on, huh?
Yeah, supposed to on Thursday. Yeah.
Well, the trade deadline happened.
Yeah.
We got CMC early.
Mm-hmm.
And the Rams got nothing. That's right. They got nothing.
Awesome. Hey, Rudy, where are you, man? Where are you? Oh, you still making excuses under your rock?
Oh, for real.
I mean,
David, I love that because that's a great closing comment because that's like a mic drop right there. He's like, Rams didn't get nothing. Boom.
Boom. All right, guys. Great show, Wolf, John, David. Thanks for seeing you guys. And Wolf, thanks for having me on. You guys have a great night. Stay faithful, everybody.
Thanks for being here, bro. Always appreciate you, man. Have a great night, man. And we'll see if I have a show tomorrow. But take care.
All right. Bye.
All right. Go Niners.
Yep.
Hell yeah. Yeah, you guys got any other closing thoughts?
Well, thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate it. It's always great talking 49ers football with you. But yeah, just like everybody else, I'll see you when I see you. If you have a show on tomorrow, I'll check it out. I'll check out that show with you and Jesse Naylor. But yeah, have a good night.
Appreciate you, bro. Take care, man. All right, everybody who's still here, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Please make sure you like and subscribe before you leave if you're not already subscribed and haven't already liked, man. Either way, regardless, I appreciate you guys being here and jumping into the comments and stuff like that and just sharing the 49ers therapy with us, the 49ers hype train. And like I said, man, I don't think I'll be putting up a video tomorrow. I might, but it just depends how I feel. If I feel like, because I feel like there's still a lot of things that could be said about the 49ers right now. But like I said, I should be coming on with Jesse Naylor from Last Second Sports. If you guys don't know him, you guys better go check him out. He's a cool ass dude. And we should be back here Thursday evening around the same time. So, yeah, I appreciate you guys. I think that's pretty much it, man. I hope you guys all have a great night. And make sure you tune in again. Like and subscribe.